God's chosen ones are often the center of attention, but why? The chosen ones carry a light that cannot be ignored, drawing admiration and envy alike. As a chosen one, your presence shifts atmospheres and ignites conversations. In this video, we reveal why God's chosen ones are the focus of so much attention and how to embrace this divine calling. Remember, chosen one, your uniqueness is a reflection of God's glory. Stay confident and remain grateful to God for making you a beacon of hope and light. Welcome, chosen one. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to deeply thank every single one of you who has supported this channel. Your support fuels everything we do here, allowing us to continue sharing messages of empowerment, inspiration, and truth. Have you ever noticed how legends are whispered, not announced? When you walk into a room, it's like the entire world shifts to adjust to your energy. The air feels different, the focus subtly gravitates toward you, and without saying a word, you make people take notice. They might not even realize it, but something about your presence demands attention. This isn't random, it's the essence of being chosen. And here's the curious part. How often do you hear your name in conversations or catch wind of people discussing your life even in places you've never been? It's not paranoia, it's reality. Psychologists say humans are naturally drawn to what they can't fully understand. That's why people are so fixated on you. They can sense your depth, your uniqueness, but they can't quite figure you out. That's the beauty of being chosen. You're not meant to be easily understood. You're the kind of soul that breaks molds, rewrites rules, and forces people to question everything they thought they knew. You're not just the topic of conversation. You're the hot topic, the walking enigma who's admired, envied, and misunderstood in equal measure. You could be doing the most mundane thing, ordering coffee, scrolling through your phone, or just minding your own business, and yet your existence becomes someone else's headline. Why? Because you defy expectations. You're the living proof that some rules were made to be broken, and that terrifies people. So buckle up, chosen one. We're about to explore the deeper truth behind why your presence holds so much power and why you're occupying space in everyone's minds. God's chosen ones, the real reason you're the hot topic of every conversation. Number 1. Your existence disrupts norms. Chosen one, have you ever felt like your very presence changes the atmosphere of a room? You walk in and suddenly people can't help but notice you. It's not because you're seeking attention. It's because you carry something different, something powerful. You weren't created to fit into the boxes that others try so hard to stay in. You were made to break the mold. And that's why people can't stop talking about you. Most people live their lives clinging to routines, building comfort around rules that feel safe and predictable. But when you show up, everything shifts. It's not just about what you do, it's the way you live authentically and unapologetically. Can you see how that might challenge their sense of normal? They've spent years building their worldviews around what's familiar, and then you come along and disrupt it all without even trying. It's like the story of Jesus healing the man born blind in John 9. The Pharisees couldn't handle the fact that Jesus performed a miracle on the Sabbath. It wasn't the healing that upset them, it was the fact that he broke their rules. His actions exposed the rigidity and emptiness of their traditions. In the same way, your life reveals that many of the limits people believe in are self-imposed. You show them a reality they've been too afraid to consider, and that can be unsettling. Why do people find you so fascinating, even if they don't always admit it? It's because you succeed where others wouldn't dare to try. You walk paths they wouldn't risk, make choices they'd label reckless, yet somehow you thrive. They might wonder, how is this possible? They can't understand your strength, your courage, or your ability to rise above fear. Think of David stepping onto the battlefield with Goliath, 1 Samuel 17. He didn't look like a warrior, and the odds were stacked against him. Yet his faith and courage allowed him to achieve the impossible. David didn't conform to expectations, he shattered them. Do you see the parallel? Like David, you challenge what people think is possible. You force them to confront their own limits and question if they've been holding themselves back all along. This is why people are drawn to you, even if they don't always show it in a positive way. You reflect a kind of freedom and boldness they've told themselves isn't real. Have you noticed how your success makes them rethink their own choices? It's not just envy. It's a deep discomfort with the idea that the rules they've been following might not matter as much as they thought. Isaiah 55:8-9 reminds us, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." You live by this truth, walking in alignment with a divine plan that surpasses human understanding. That's why your life feels so different. It's meant to. You don't just exist in the world, you rearrange it. Whether people love you or misunderstand you, they can't ignore you. Your presence demands attention because it represents something bigger than yourself, a disruption of what is and a glimpse of what could be. So, chosen one, take a moment to reflect. Can you see how your courage and authenticity ripple through the lives of those around you? How you, like David or Jesus, are part of a greater plan to challenge norms and create something extraordinary. Number 2, you reflect what others fear to confront. Chosen one, have you ever noticed how people's reactions to you often feel bigger than the actions you've taken? They aren't just reacting to you, they're reacting to what you represent. When others look at you, they don't merely see the person standing before them. They see the reflection of their own hidden fears, unfulfilled dreams, and dormant potential. Your life becomes a mirror they can't avoid, even if they desperately wish to. Your boldness, your determination, and your refusal to settle for less than you're called to stir something deep within them. For some, that reflection is motivating, inspiring them to consider possibilities they had long dismissed. For others, however, it's deeply unsettling. Your courage shines a light on the areas they've buried under self-doubt, excuses, and fear. Without even trying, you make them question everything they thought they knew about themselves. Have you noticed this in how people treat you? How their words or actions often reveal more about their inner struggles than about you. This isn't a new phenomenon. Consider the story of Moses and the Israelites in Exodus 16. When Moses led the people out of Egypt, they began to complain about the hardships of the wilderness, longing to return to slavery rather than face the uncertainties of freedom. Moses' leadership reflected their fears, fear of the unknown, fear of responsibility, and fear of stepping into a future they couldn't control. Like Moses, your boldness to step into the unknown challenges others to confront what they're holding on to, whether it's comfort, fear, or old versions of themselves they've outgrown. People have a habit of projecting their internal struggles onto those around them. When they see you thriving, breaking barriers, stepping outside of comfort zones, and pursuing growth, they can't help but compare themselves to you. If they've been hesitating to chase their own dreams, your fearlessness becomes a spotlight on their inaction. If they've settled into a life of complacency, your hunger for something greater feels like a direct challenge to their status quo. Can you see how simply living authentically might feel like a confrontation to those around you? Look at the prophet Jonah, whose story is told in the book of Jonah. When God called him to go to Nineveh, Jonah ran in the opposite direction. Why? Because he didn't want to confront the difficult mission God had given him. In the end, God used Jonah as a tool to reflect the hearts of the people of Nineveh and bring them to repentance. Similarly, your life can be a reflection that calls others to confront their own challenges, fears, and callings. Not everyone is ready for that, and some will run from it just as Jonah did. Some people will put you on a pedestal, seeing you as an example of what they could become if they chose courage over fear. Others, however, will try to tear you down, not because of anything you've done, but because your success or confidence reminds them of their own regrets. Their criticism often has little to do with you and everything to do with the parts of themselves they aren't ready to face. Have you ever wondered why some people admire you while others seem threatened by your very presence? Remember the story of Nehemiah in Nehemiah 4. When Nehemiah set out to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, his enemies ridiculed him and tried to stop his work. Their resistance wasn't about the wall itself, it was about what the wall symbolized: strength, renewal, and divine purpose. Like Nehemiah, Your actions don't just create change, they carry meaning that challenges the perspectives and comfort zones of those around you. Whether people cheer for you or criticize you, one truth remains: you leave an impression they cannot ignore. You are a walking wake-up call, reminding others of the lives they could live if they chose faith over fear. That's why you're such a hot topic. Your presence makes people question whether they've been playing small, living someone else's version of success, or avoiding the hard truths they need to face. In a world full of distractions, few things are as impactful as someone who forces others to think deeply. That's who you are. Like Moses, Jonah, or Nehemiah, you weren't placed here to make people comfortable. You were placed here to challenge, inspire, and help others grow, even if it's uncomfortable at first. So, chosen one, reflect on this. Do you see how your authenticity ripples through the lives of those around you? How your actions call others higher, even when they don't realize it? Whether they admire you or resist you, your life has a purpose far greater than their reactions. You are here to reflect not only their fears, but also their potential, reminding them of what's possible. Before you go, if this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Help us spread more messages of hope and encouragement to those who need it most. We are deeply grateful for your presence and support. May you continue to walk boldly in your purpose, and may your light shine even brighter. Stay blessed, chosen one.